Hello and welcome to another episode of Rating Worst Rated. Today's video is all about Redfall. Redfall released on May 2nd, 2023, has a Metascore of 56 and a user score of 3.6 out of 10, which is generally unfavorable. I first played this game at launch with 2 other players. We played about 3 hours and then none of us ever played it again, until now. I had very low expectations returning to this game, and if you've seen any of my other videos, you know I've been playing some pretty bad games. I've been getting home from work completely stressed out and jumping right into games like Skull Island Rise of Kong and Walking Dead Destinies. So I decided to play on the easiest difficulty and just try to make it through the game. I also found in the accessibility options, you can literally just turn on infinite ammo, which in fact did make the game a lot more accessible, not having to pick up ammo, ever. So I jumped into Redfall and started my playthrough, and much to my surprise, I didn't hate it. The gameplay is kind of an amalgam of different gameplay mechanics from other games, just with the gameplay knob turned down a little bit. Taking safe houses that turn into teleport spots reminded me of games like Far Cry and Dying Light. The gunplay also felt very Far Cry to me. Having to stake vampires to actually kill them reminded me of Glory Kills and Doom, and the weapon drop frequency and inventory management reminded me of a lot of looter shooters that I've played. However, most of the weapons you pick up in a category felt basically identical in function to other weapons in the same class, but would have stat increases to replace your underleveled, obsolete weapons. The character skills you acquire as you level up basically seemed useless, other than the skill points for health recovery and the tree that affected your ultimate ability. Overall for combat, I didn't hate it, but it became very repetitive. I'd give it a 5 out of 10. The story of the game, from what I followed, seemed pretty subpar. Essentially, you're dropped into the town of Redfall, which has been taken over by vampires, which can roam freely due to the sun turning black. Your loop for missions takes you to an area to investigate. You find clues pointing to why the outbreak is happening or how to potentially stop it. These clues also point you to another area to investigate until eventually you get enough info and an item needed to challenge a boss. This loop repeats throughout the entire game, and along with the combat can feel very repetitive. So my rating for the story was a 4 out of 10. The world, story structure, and even the skill tree make me believe that this game was intended to be better with friends in cooperative play. However, from my experience, this game was better solo. There were so many awkward moments and enemy interactions I was able to just stop and laugh at, where if I was playing with a group, there would have probably been more pressure to just speed through it. The bugs, enemy AI, and behaviors felt identical to how I remembered them from my first time playing the game. So if there was an update to fix things, it wasn't enough. There were many areas I found where I could just stand still and an enemy would be stuck swiping at the air, unable to hit me, and also times where enemies would just be staring at walls or up at the sky and never detect me. So for the bugs, performance, and enemy behaviors, my rating was a 3 out of 10. The part of the game I did enjoy the most was the exploration. There were 2 major areas you explored in this game, each with their own map. Within these areas, there were many houses and facilities to explore and loot. One major complaint I do have is that you can't return to the previous map after heading to the second major area. I feel like this really limits the player and also can be frustrating. If you move on to the second area and haven't completed your side quests in the previous areas, you can't return. So my rating for the exploration and environment is a 4.5 out of 10. So all in all, this game was truthfully the best, worst-rated title I've played so far in this series. It had many bugs and issues, but it didn't add stress to my life during my playthrough. So if you're looking for a game that's pretty chill in mechanics and is still bad enough to have its awkward moments, this game is playable, and it's still on Game Pass. For my overall rating, I had combat at a 5 out of 10, story at a 4 out of 10, bugs and enemy behaviors at a 3 out of 10, and exploration at a 4.5 out of 10, for an overall Pooby score of 4.1 out of 10. If you made it this far in the video, I just wanted to say thank you for watching. And without further ado, it's time for the final boss.